Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to continue looking at stage 4 of this year's Financial Modeling World Cup, and we are going to look at the second case in this stage called Funnel Vision by Sameer Jagetia. Let me introduce the story for you. As part of Lambda Capital Partners acquisition due diligence, you have been asked to evaluate MacroLogic's marketing funnel performance. You have been provided with 10,000 leads from 2025. Their progression through the sales funnel, and attribution data showing which marketing channels influenced each lead. Your task is to analyze channel performance, test optimization opportunities, and project potential ROI improvements. So if we take a look at the case file, we see we have all of our assumptions as we usually do with the case. We have our general assumptions, our funnel data down here, and then on the second sheet we have A/B tests, and this will come into effect later in this case. But as always, I have my questions loaded here, so come along with me and let me show you how I solved this case. Here we go. All right, question 1 asks, how many total closed-won deals are in the funnel data? Now in our data, we know we have closed-won deals because there's a date on them pretty simply right there. So what I'm going to do is first I want to turn this into a table, because working with the table was just so much easier for me, as in like highlighting things are easier and formulas are easier. So I'm going to call this funnel data. Yeah, let's just do that. And then we are going to count if how many cells in the CW date column here of funnel data is greater than 0, meaning there's a date inside. I get 285. Question 2, what is the overall lead to MQL conversion rate? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how many leads there are and how many MQLs there are. So I did all this case over here to the right side of this data, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Let me just zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see on the screen. So what I did was I found a number of leads, number of MQL, and so the number of leads was basically the number of rows in this table. Each row in this table was a single lead, right? So I could just do rows of funnel data, just like that. And then the number of MQLs is just like I did with the number of CWs. So I'm going to count if how many of these MQL dates are greater than 0, which means they have a date inside. 289.8, so I do leads, what is it? Leads to MQL or MQL to leads? Lead to MQL conversion, right? So conversion rate was basically 0.2898 or 28.98%. There we go. Question 3. What is the highest channel level MQL to SQL conversion rate? First touch attribution. Now this attribution is going to be important because in our table we have which channel was the first touch and which channel was the last touch. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use these channels to organize my data. So I'm going to go ahead and name these channels. And so let's go ahead for this question. Let's list the channels down here. Just like that. I'm going to bold this row so that's easier for me to see. And then we are looking for MQL to SQL conversion rate, right? So number of MQL for each channel, we're going to count ifs. How many times this MQL column is greater than 0. And then this first touch channel is going to refer to these channels listed out there. So that gives us the number of MQLs per channel. Now let's do the same thing for the number of SQLs per channel. So SQLs is greater than 0. And first touch channel are the channels listed there. Let me just go ahead and add first touch just so that it's very clear for me. And now MQL to SQL conversion rate is going to be this number divided by that number, so we get all of our rates. The question was asking the highest, so I am just going to find the max of those numbers that I just calculated. I get a max of 54.50%. Question 4. What is the blended cost per lead across all channels? Well, this should be pretty straightforward. How many leads do we get? How much cost do we spend, right? So let's do question 4. Number of leads is what we've already calculated before. So let's just go ahead and bring that in. Total spend. Well, up here we have how much spend we have on per channel, right? And you know what, just to be safe, let me just go ahead and put all the channels out here. Channels number of leads. So count ifs. This is first. Actually, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's not asking for this. But I'm going to go ahead and put first touch here. First touch there. Total spend is going to be up here. And then this is going to be called cost per lead, or CPL, right? So total spend divided by total number of leads. That's on a per channel basis, but we want the overall blended amount. So I'm just going to do the overall total spend, the overall number of leads, and then do the same formula for this row down here. So I get 735 cost per lead, which is the answer D. Question 5. What is the highest channel level CPCW, cost per closed won, under first touch attribution? All right, so we need to figure out these closed ones here, which we can get again from this column just like that. So let's go ahead and we'll do question 5. We're doing first touch, yes. Channels, first touch. Let's get all the channels here. Let's do, do total spend once again. And I could just reference that just like I did before. And this is number of closed ones, right? So we are going to count if how many times in this column is it greater than 0, meaning there's a date. And then from the first touch channel, referencing these channels that I've listed there. So there's a number of CWs, there's a number of total spend. So cost per closed one, CPCW, is total spend divided by the number of CW right there. And the question was highest channel level. So let's go ahead and find the maximum of these values here, $56,667. Question 6. What is the CPCW for paid search under last touch attribution? Well, I just did first touch, but we can do the exact same thing for last touch. So I'm just checking my formula here because I'm wondering if I copy and paste this down to here. Okay. But we want to change this to last touch. We want to change this instead of the first touch channel that we're counting with. We're going to look at the last touch channel that we are counting with there. So that's going to change these dollar amounts here. And the question was paid search. So where's paid search? Right there, $23,809.52. Question 7. What is the overall average sales cycle, lead date to CW date in days? All right, well, we have in a table here, we have our lead date there, we have the CW date there. They're not all going to have CW dates, but let me just go ahead and add an extra column for, what was this called? Oh, sales cycle. And what we're going to do is if there's a CW date, we're going to take this date minus the lead date. So if this is greater than 0, we'll take this date minus the lead date. Otherwise, just leave it blank so we don't calculate that into our formula. It's giving me these green triangles. Oh, it's unprotected. That's fine. I'm not locking this sheet. And so the question was the average. So let's go ahead and find the average of this column that we have just calculated. I get 44.04 days. Question 8. Which channel has the shortest average sales cycle under first touch attribution? Okay, so what I did here when I separated this by channel, I probably should have done that for this question. It would have made it quicker, but that's okay. So we are operating under first touch attribution. So let's go ahead and do that again, first touch. And we will do average, what was it called? Average sales cycle, right. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Average sales cycle. So we'll do average ifs, the sales cycle where first touch channel references the channels in this column here. So there we get the average cycle for each channel. We are looking for the shortest. Which channel has the shortest? Okay, so we'll do sort by the channel names by their sales cycle going in ascending order. So that will put the shortest one on top and I get referral there. Question 19, which channel has the longest average sales cycle? Okay, so we could do the same formula, but this time we will do -1 and we will get social media. I'm just going to take a quick look at my score sheet because I can't see the scoreboard up on the screen. Everything is good. Okay, cool. Question 10. What is the difference in average sales cycle between the longest and shortest channels using first touch attribution? Okay, well, let's just find what's the difference between the maximum of these numbers and the minimum of these numbers. I get 28.33 days for that difference. Question 11. How many more closed-won deals does paid search receive credit for under last touch versus first touch attribution? Okay, so we don't have this one yet. I think we have this under last. Oh, we do have it. This under first touch. Oh, that's actually going to be easy. So we are looking for paid search, right? So that's going to be this number subtracted that number. So let's go ahead and do 63 minus 54. So under last touch, they have 9 more than they would under first touch. Check my scoreboard again. Okay, we're good. I'm nervous about the scoreboard. Question 12. What is the ROI difference for referral channel between last touch and first touch attribution? And ROI refers to revenue divided by spend. Okay, so if I go back here, and we are on question 12 now. Yeah, so question 12. Let's do channel. Let's bring out the spend, which is here. And the formatting is going to bug me, so whoops. So I'll bring the formatting out. All right, and we are looking for the revenue between last touch and first touch attribution, right? Okay, so revenue, let's do first touch here. So we are going to sum ifs. The revenue is listed here under this ACV column. So sum the ACV where the first touch refers to these channels here. So that's the revenue. Revenue last touch. We'll once again sum the ACV column where the last touch channel refers to the channels listed there. So we see the difference here. Now let's do ROI first touch and ROI last touch. So first touch ROI is going to be revenue divided by spend. So revenue here divided by spend there. And last touch is going to be revenue here divided by spend there. Right. Okay, so we are looking for the difference between last touch and first touch for the referral channel. So referral channel is down here, last touch minus first touch. And I get 0.42 for that difference. Question 13. How many A/B tests achieve statistical significance as indicated? Now this one is working over here on this A/B test sheet. Let me go ahead and turn this data into a table just like I did with the last table. We'll call this A/B tests, just like that. And the statistical significance, let me just make this white. I don't know why it keeps it as black. We can't see black. All right, so statistical significance is identified in this column. We just need to see how many of these say yes, right? So on the question sheet, we're going to count if how many times this column has the word yes. Just like that. I have 13. Question 14. Among statistically significant tests with positive lift, what is the highest conversion lift percentage? All right, so the lift is talking about... Oh, we don't have lift here. We don't have lift here, do we? Okay, well, let me go back to the instructions because I know there are several formulas within the instructions and maybe lift is listed here. Let's take a look. So key formulas, here we go. Conversion lift. Variant rate minus control rate divided by control rate. All right, let me copy that so I can bring it into this sheet and just use this quickly as reference. So conversion lift is going to be, there we go. Variant rate minus control rate divided by control rate there. All right, so there we have all of our conversion lifts, right? And the question is looking at significant tests with positive lift, highest conversion lift percentage. So we can use max ifs for this one. So we're going to find the maximum of this column where this column is positive, so greater than 0, and the statistical significance column reads yes. The maximum we get is 27.27%. Question 15. If all statistically significant tests with positive lift are implemented, what is the expected annual increase in conversions? And we're going to sum monthly volume times variant rate minus control rate times 12. So let me copy this question here because I want to use that formula once again in this table. So we are looking at expected increase in conversions. I know that's a pretty long column name, but oh wow, we're going with it. All right, so monthly volume, which is in this column here, times variant rate minus control rate times 12. There we go. So that's the expected increase for all of them, but we're only going to add the ones with statistically significant tests and positive lift. And eventually I'm going to learn how to say that phrase. So let's sum ifs this column where the conversion lift is positive and statistical significance is yes. I get 9,605. Question 16. Using the expected additional conversion volume, if we were to apply the lead to close one conversion rate under first touch attribution, what is the number of additional closed one deals? Now this conversion rate, we don't have it yet. We haven't actually calculated yet. So let's go ahead and calculate the lead to closed one conversion rate under first touch attribution. All right, so here we have the number of closed ones for the first touch attribution. Here we have the number of leads. So let me just add another column for lead to closed one rate. So the number of closed one divided by the number of leads. These are both first touch. I am checking that to be sure. So there we have the conversion rates. Let me just give you a few more digits there. Right. And then let me go ahead and copy this so I can use this on this A/B test sheet. Okay. So, right. So over here we have the channel. We're going to use this to look up that lead to close one conversion sheet and then turn that into additional close one deals. So number additional closed one deals. And let's take out the word number. Don't need the word number. There we go. Okay. So we are going to take the expected additional conversion volume and multiply it by that conversion rate. So we're going to XLOOKUP the channel here. Let's go back to our other sheet. The channels are listed there. I'm going to lock that. And then we are going to return this lead one close rate and then also lock that. These should be numbers there. So that's the number of additional closed one deals. So let's see here if I can sum this up and let's see if the numbers will work right. So we're going to sum this column where conversion lift is positive and statistical significance reads yes. 251 more closed one deals. There we go. Question 17. What is the LTV to CAC ratio for events channel using last touch attribution? And here we have the formula for both LTV and CAC there. And if I go to the instruction sheet, it probably tells me what LTV means. Okay, lifetime value and customer acquisition cost. Okay, got it. Right, so let me take this formula here. Actually, yeah, let's do it like that. And let's go back to our assumption sheet. We're actually done with this sheet at this point. We're going to go back to this sheet. We are now on question 17. I'm just going to put the question there. So, average ACV or cost of close one is already listed there for last touch. Okay, so channels, last touch. Let's bring the channels back out of here. CAC, which I forgot what's, customer acquisition costs, is referring this. It's the same as this cost per close one, so we are going to reference this range there. And then average ACV, and the average ACV, did I calculate that already? I don't think so, but we can calculate it quite easily. So average ACV, we'll do average ifs, this ACV column, we're doing last touch attribution. So we're going to look at this last touch here. Whoops, I forgot the right column. Average ACV, where the last touch channel refers to the channels listed there. So there's our average ACV for each channel. Gross margin and customer lifetime are both referenced at the top of this sheet here. So gross margin is 80% and customer lifetime, if I go back up here, is 3 years. There we go. So now we have all the information. We can get the LTV, lifetime value. Lifetime value LTV. So that's going to be average ACV times the gross margin times the customer lifetime. There we go. And now that we have that, we can now calculate this LTV to CAC ratio. Oops. LTV to CAC ratio. So that is this lifetime value here divided by this average ACV there. And they are all exactly the same. That's a bit concerning. They shouldn't be all exactly the same. All right. Did I do something wrong here? Oh, I did something wrong here. Yeah. No, I didn't do something wrong there. I did something wrong here. Yeah, okay, I did something wrong here. The CAC is not the average ACV. The CAC is the customer acquisition cost. Hey, there we go. Now we get different numbers. We're looking for the events channel. The events channel is listed there. I get 6.06 for this question. Question 18. How many channels have CAC payback exceeding 12 months under first touch attribution? All right, so this one, if I go down here, we'll do that for question 18. I'll just lay it out there. And then let me go to the instructions to get the formula for CAC payback, which is listed right there. Let me just go ahead and copy that and also put that in here. Now, we are looking under first touch. That was last touch attribution. So we need to look at first touch attribution now. So channels first touch. And we can just put channels here. I believe we should have the customer acquisition cost because, yep, there it is for first touch, right? So we can refer that here and just refer to the numbers that we found up there. And we also need average ACV as well. So average ACV, and this is now under first touch, so we cannot use these numbers. I don't think we calculated it before. If we did, I already don't remember. So let's just do it. So we're going to average ifs this ACV column where the first touch channel refers to our channels listed there. And then times 12 times gross margin. Okay, so we can already calculate CAC payback in months, right? So we'll take the CAC divided by the average ACV divided by 12 times the gross margin, which is listed right there. How many channels have CAC exceeding 12 months? So let's just go ahead and count how many of these are greater than 12. I have only one social media here at 16.077. Let's go ahead and mark that. And finally, question 19. The company is looking to introduce some changes to further boost their ROI. Calculate the new overall projected annual ROI if 1. The company discontinues all channels with LTV to CAC below 3.0 using first touch, and 2. Reallocates that budget to events. Assume events cost per closed one and average ACV remain constant, and retained channels maintain their current performance. All right, so quite a lot going on with this question. Let's take it step by step and see if we can get all of that in here. So I'm going to put the whole question in there. Actually, I can take out the first sentence. All right, so first thing that we need to do is figure out which channels have this LTV to CAC below 3.0 under first touch attribution. Now the problem is we have this under last touch attribution, but I do believe we should be able to do it under first touch using this data here actually, because that is under first touch. And then just, yeah, we can make a few changes there. Okay, so let's go ahead, bring this first down, customer acquisition costs. Let's just use this formula. Average ACV is already listed there. We don't care about payback values, so let's change that to the last 3 columns here. Gross margin is 80%, customer lifetime is 3. That gives us the lifetime value and the CAC ratio just like that. Now, which channels are discontinued? Actually, let's go ahead and bold here. Discontinued. Anywhere this is less than 3. So only this last one, which is social media. Yep. Social media is discontinued. Right. So let me go ahead and add. Yeah, let me add total spend here. Total spend, because this total spend is going to be reallocated, right? There we go. Total spend just like that. And let's get the total spend here. So based on which ones are discontinued, okay, where do we need to go here? Reallocates the budget to events. Okay, so new spend is going to be this old spend here times where this is equal to false, so they're not discontinued. So that is the old spend, but we need to add this amount to the events, right? Plus, if this channel's here equals events, sum ifs, this total spend where discontinued marker is true. There we go. So now we see the total event spend has gone up. That is, now our total spend is matched, means we've reallocated it properly. Okay, so assume events cost per close one and average ACV remains constant. And what that means is this is cost per close one, right? So that means their actual close one is going to go up because the rate is the same, but we have additional spend, right? So let's do new close one. So if we do this properly, we should have the the spend divided by the customer acquisition cost here. And we see that for most of these are just even numbers because they're exactly the same, except for events, which has gone up to 90.11. And social media is now 0 because, there is no spend. And then average ACV is listed there. So we can get new revenue is this close one times the ACV listed there. So that's going to be the new total revenue the company brings in. Let's sum that up together. We get 19.655 million, and then we should be able to get a new ROI of this revenue divided by the amount that we have spent. So I get 2.67 times, and that is how you solve this case. Let me check one final time my scoreboard. Okay, everything looks great. Right, so a really fun case overall. Didn't require an extra model for this one. Like, as you see, I just built everything over here to the right. And could you have put it into a model form? Probably. Because, you see, my first column here every time was the channels. So, yeah, you probably could have put it in model form. It would have been a very long horizontal model, probably. Unless you switched it, put the channels across the top column, and then made it very vertical, but then that might be also awkward to read. But anyways, doing it this way worked out pretty well for me, and I was very happy with the results. I hope you got something out of this, especially if you tried this competition yourself. I hope you learned a little bit from watching this video. If you're not familiar with the Financial Modeling World Cup, take a look at the links in the description. There is a link to sign up if you would like to participate. I believe they're still taking registrations for the second half of the year. I hope you enjoyed the content in this video. If you did, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one.
It's the Excel World Championship. Who is going to win? It's the Excel World Championship. Who's going in the spreadsheet bin?